Welcome back to 5-Minute Fantasy Football, presented to you by the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. Today we're going to talk about the Cincinnati Bengals. They've had a busy offseason, a lot of changes. Let's look what Mike Clay projects for them, ESPN's projections from Mike Clay, and of course, look at the Sleeper ADP to see how much it costs to acquire these players. First, just want to mention Underdog Fantasy. Go over there. Underdog Fantasy has season-long pick'ems. Download it, play some best ball, do some underdog pick'ems. And Jamar Chase, higher or lower 9.5 touchdowns? That's the question for you. And we can ask Mike and find out what he says. So Joe Burrow, he's got him projected for 4,119 yards, 27 passing touchdowns, 11 interceptions, and that's in 15 games. So if he plays more than that, then Mike's got him going higher. Burrow has had his injury concerns, and the wrist is, people are very concerned about the wrist. He's got him projected lower than what Underdog has him as far as the passing touchdowns, but higher on the passing yards. Rushing, they got him at 173 with 3 rushing TDs. No catches. He's not Lamar Jackson. He's got him as the 5th quarterback, and so that's really high. He's going off the board lower than that. Right now, he's going off the board as the 7th quarterback, and he's going at pick 64. Zack Moss is projected to be their lead back. Big breakout year with the Colts last year, but always concerned about a running back that's 26 years old, 25 years old, getting his first start. 824 yards on the ground, 7 rushing touchdowns. This team let Joe Mixon walk, and they've made some additions to the offensive line. They're able to keep T. Higgins, and we'll see what they're able to do with Jamar Chase's contract. But Zack Moss got a big deal, 7 touchdowns. What do you think? In the receiving game, they have Chase Brown projected for a little bit more of the receiving, but 37 targets, 28 receptions, 190 for 1. That's RB26. He's going off the board as RB25, so right in line with ADP. Chase Brown is going off the board as the 40th running back at pick 128. He's 43 here, so Mike is right in line. He's got Chase Brown projected for 370 yards on the ground, 289 in the air with 39 receptions for RB43. This is where the production is. Who's going to be the wide receiver 3 for the Bengals? Who do you think? Put it in the chat. Jamar Chase, he's got him as the 3rd receiver. That's what Mike Clay has it, and he's the 3rd receiver for ADP. 152 targets, catches 106 of them for 1,343 yards and 8 touchdowns. Right in line with what Underdog was saying. It's actually a little higher on the receiving yards, a little lower on the touchdowns. Pretty consistent for Mike. Of course, he plays more games. Those numbers are expected to go up. And then that's wide receiver 3 on the year. You're getting him at that price. T. Higgins, he's got him as a 26th receiver, and he's going off as the 27th receiver at pick 53. A little down year last year, but he's getting 115 targets, catching 70 of them for 1,031 yards on a contract year, getting 7 touchdowns. What do you think? Is T. Higgins a good wide receiver 2 this year? Or are you hoping that he, is more of a wide receiver 3 or 4? And then Jermaine Burton, a lot of hype this offseason. They really like the landing spot, and he's getting a lot of buzz out of camp. They got him for 47 receptions, 562 yards, 4 touchdowns. It's wide receiver 76. Nothing crazy. Unless something happens to Chase or Higgins, Mike Clay's not projecting a lot. They're drafting him a little bit higher at 74, but right in line with Mike. Slavis, if you're looking for a sleeper, a dart throw, a last round pick, Slavis is an interesting guy. He showed up last year when T. Higgins was injured, and he had a connection with Joe Burrow, especially in the red zone. But this guy is a big play threat. He is a speedster, and he's very similar to Jermaine Burton, and he's getting a huge discount. He's basically free, and in your dynasty leagues, he's worth a stash. Tight end, this team has had some random tight ends do well. CJ Uzama, Hayden Hurst had a little bit of a boost. Last year, Tanner Hudson was decent at the end of the year. Gesicki is going off as tight end 28. Mike thinks he's going to be worse. Tight end 40. So he's getting all the productions going to the receivers, and Gesicki and Tanner Hudson are just splitting it. They got Tanner McLaughlin, who he doesn't even have on here. Drew Sample's more of a blocking tight end. And then Eric All, he's coming off of a late season ACL injury, so he may start the season on the pup. And they may not need him with veterans on the field like Gesicki and Hudson. So what do you think about 2024 Bengals? This is 5-Minute Fantasy Football. As always, good luck this season.